It is. You know, they all three have different styles, too, when you watch them and play. And, you know, I think their talent level, and Kirk, I think, has a really good idea what their talent level is and how to utilize them. And the coaching staff, too. You know, they know their skill set, what they're effective at. But they all are different, you know. Talk to me next week. I'll be able to fill you in more. But seeing them on film, I mean, the athleticism is definitely there.
Does it seem like they miss Jordan Reed at all? It seems like those types of athletic tight ends are becoming more and more valuable today.
Yes, I mean, for him, he has been. When I was up in Seattle, we went against him, and he had a big game. So he's very talented. But they're really their tight end core. Vernon Davis, who, you know, when he was at San Francisco, was a challenge. And then it seemed like to be a little bit of a lull, and then he's taken off again. And just watching him on tape, too, you know, his speed has always been there. But, again, they utilize his skill set. You'll see him going deep, and he'll have a number of explosive plays. And, you know, it looks like he's kind of in a pretty good groove right now.
Coach, what have you seen from Desmond King? He's only a rookie, but he's played very well this season.
Yeah, I think as the season goes on, he's become more seasoned. The more and more he plays in situations, there was a big learning curve for him there, especially early in the season. But it seems to me like he's playing with a little bit more poise right now. And, you know, that just comes with getting more reps in critical situations.
We spent time talking about how a player is going to adjust to a new system with you coming in. How did you adjust to a totally new group of players, and how long did that process take?
You know, that's a great question because, you know, it's forced me to be a little bit more open-minded. You come into it and you say, all right, this is a system, here's what we're looking for. And what I've learned is that flexibility and utilizing guys' skill set is so important. So although we have a system, we've added some things that we felt like would be good based on our personnel, and it's been effective for us. So, I mean, that's the challenging part. You just have to keep an open mind and realize every situation is different. And, you know, and that part really does start up front, too, because a lot of it is based on your rush and what you're capable of doing, and can you get after the quarterback, and that will really affect what you're playing in the back end.
Once you obviously you kind of see early on that Joey and Melvin are going to be a problem for a lot of teams. How long does it take you to kind of get to know the rest of the team, and when do you start to actually feel comfortable with, or are you still learning?
Well, I mean, I think every game's different. If you went back and looked at our third downs last week, we brought a lot of pressure in the third down situation. So it's really by game. And it doesn't mean that we brought pressure because we felt like we couldn't get there with a four-man rush. It was just we felt like some of the things they were doing to try to affect the quarterback even more. And, you know, that's by game. But, yeah, I would feel very comfortable going in knowing that, hey, we got to, you know, get pressure with four. You know, especially because we got good push up the middle and those guys on the perimeter.
In reference to Desmond King, what have you done to stand out in your eyes?
Well, I think one thing that we saw in preseason was he is around the ball a lot, you know, and he makes plays when he gets opportunities. Now, sometimes I think what he's growing on us is just his ability because he doesn't have the great length, he doesn't have the size, height-wise, the speed, but he's a really good football player. And I think that's what we're starting to see now. He just has the knack to be around the ball a lot. And but that consistency, you know, coaches, we try to keep our thumb on him pretty good to, you know, to keep it so you can't take a play off. And I think that's the part that where he's become more seasoned, where he knows and now understands just how valuable each play is.
How much do you think Kirk's going to react?
Oh, I'm sure. You know, but in our system, he'll go after everybody. Everybody will get their chances. Listen, last week I think there was 14 shots, you know, where they went after the corners. You know, so that's just part of the system. You got to be able to stand up in those situations.
They've had struggles with their right backs they've lost throughout the year. The rookie seems to have taken over. What do you see of your I can't remember his name, but what did really stood out to you on tape?
On what's that?
Their running back.
Oh, good. I mean, he's talented. The two guys that got hurt, obviously 25, very talented. You know, and I think that part of it, you know, especially on third down and situations, what they did with him, you know, I'm sure that was a big hit. But, I mean, he's jumped in now and has done a good job. He's a different style of runner, more of a powerful runner. You know, he's got strength, good leg drive. So, you know, he can come up with, I mean, in Oklahoma he had, you know, games where he had over a couple hundred yards rushing. So, and but we have great respect for him, great respect, but different style, different style.
It seems like Melvin and Joey have lined up on every single imaginable place along the defensive line. When you're kind of devising that, is it just a matter of getting them in every spot possible to see what works? Or did you know going in that some alignments were...
Well, I would say there's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. I think there's sometimes we'll run a pressure with both of them on the same side, so we want to make sure we get a rush where we're not bringing a pressure with both of them on the same side. So I think it's a little just self-scouting, too, to make sure they can't book where they're going to be, and if they are on a certain side, what's taking place. So at times it's designed. It was always set up that way, but not necessarily to get pressure, with a pressure or with a four-man rush.
I think Joey's tied for most sacks for a player that you've had as a head coach or a coordinator in the season. How impressive is it for him to have that many, with 4 games left in the season?
Well, he's talented. I mean, I think with Joey and Giff, they have a great relationship, and Joey is extremely talented, but he's also bought into the teachings of Giff. And I think that's why that relationship is so important, because they work well together. Joey wants to be great. He doesn't just want to be good and have a good, consistent day. I mean, he wants to be a great player in this league. And with that, he's got great humility. So he's open to learning, understanding, there might be a different technique or something different than he's done in the past, but he's open to that. And some of it is good and some of it he might not like. But it's always with the idea of how can he improve. He's just unique that way. And I mentioned that before. Sometimes it takes guys 4 or 5 years to figure it out, where he seemed to have that mindset and skill set in year one.
Was he just more refined in certain ways? The way he used his hands,
yeah,
out of line for a 21-year-old kid, were there just kind of things that he had down and other guys don't?
I think that's a great word, refined. I think that's, that would be a good term to describe him. He's mature. He understands it. And if you tell him once, he tries it, and it just comes real natural to him. Real natural. But he studies now, too. I mean, he'll study. He can go through and tell you the guys that are the good players and the ones that maybe struggle a little bit, because he studies them so much. And he'll study and kind of have a plan before he goes into it.
Are you more flexible with how you use personnel than you were earlier in your career?
Yeah, I would say based on our skill set, because you see now we're playing some dime. At times you'll see Rayshawn in the game. And I think part of it is, too, is that when you give guys certain roles, the morale is high. Here's a guy standing on the sideline, he's playing special teams. You say, you know what, let's come up with this package. He's had a great week of practice. Let's get him involved in the game, and let's do this. We can do it this way. So, I think it gives guys opportunities so they know if they have a good week of practice or things are going well, maybe the previous week, just to give them a little juice, and it's good for our team. And, so you'll see a lot of guys have the opportunity to play. If it's a big 3-wide team, then one linebacker might be a little disappointed. Or, how about me? But, we're even trying to get him more involved this week, the other linebacker.
Some more turnovers. What does that mean for you guys?
What, turnovers? Well, I think what's been good is we preach it's all about the ball. We've got to find a way to get the football. And not only that, find a way to score. And that's how we're defined. But what I think has been impressive so far up to this point with this group is there have been timely interceptions. Although we didn't win in Jacksonville, it gave us an opportunity with 2 late interceptions. And then also the Dallas game, there's some late ones. And then this past week, so they've been timely at the end of games. Sure, you'd like to have them in the earlier part too, but I think that's what's been impressive is that when the number's called and we need to go stand up, we've come up with some big plays.
Coach, there's been a lot of talk this week about the hits, especially after the Cincinnati hit for him as a defensive coach. Do you think there have been a lot of unnecessary hits this season?
I don't know how many, but I know it's something that we're very aware of and we address. We just showed them today, clips, when you have your opportunities. I know, and I don't know if I mentioned in here before, but it was probably, 2011, 2012 when it was a big push. I can remember, the free safety hitting the receiver high and got flagged for it. And it was just when the new rule came into effect. And I can remember going into the locker room after a game that we won, and he had his head in his hands going, I just don't understand it. I don't understand if that receiver lowers his head, what am I supposed to do? So I think it's gone from that to where now people are very aware of it. and they're figuring out how we have to do this. And you're hearing concepts like take your head out of the game, your strike zone, your target angle, and and I think it's just that part of it is a lot further along than I anticipated. But there's always going to be a play here or there where there's a mistake, and so our players are very aware of it.
There's also been talk of. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
There's also been talk about bringing the college rule where if you do a necessary hit, you could be kicked out of the game. What do you think about that rule?
I haven't put much thought into that part of it. I guess if it's flagrant, if it's, with the intent, I'm sure that's what, everybody's looking at in the NFL. And I think there's something to that. The ones where, it just is a bang, bang play and it happens, but there's always that gray area. So I'm sure that'll be an off-season topic where we look at and try to come up with a way. Because I think first and foremost, it's always player safety. It's just that important. And so, I think finding a way where it's safe and also not that point where it's so frustrating, to play the game. Okay, thank you.